Football evolves with every season, and with it, styles shift, dynasties fall, and new eras are born. There was once a time when the heartbeat of the game ran through the backfield.
Around the corner, down the sideline, and there he goes!
Tiki Barber puts it back inside of the block and now goes outside to room to run. Lynch, Kelly, Thomas!
When elite athletes carried not just the ball, but the hopes of entire franchises. But that era faded. Offenses adapted, the game changed, quarterbacks became kings, and running backs, expendable. What followed was a dark age, not for the game, but for the position that once defined it. Until now.
Barkley slips 2 tackles and picks up the first down.
Bro, what is that? This kid is special, man. This
At the 40, at the 30, he will score!
It's a foot race with a 250-pound man.
Watch Josh Jacobs in this movie. My goodness.
This is the story of a shift, a return, a new golden era of running backs rising from the shadows, and the forces on and off the field that brought us here. Let's unravel it. Chapter 1, Answering the Call. July 23rd, 2023, a day that the biggest names in the sport waged war against NFL teams, being under pressure to accept a reduction in pay, but not a dip in production. The league's best backs got together on a Zoom call to address the state of the position.
Some of the stuff that's come out of that, because that got a lot of attention recently.
Talk about what's going on with our market, talk about, the situations we had gone through.
Enduring a heavy and grueling workload from their organizations while not getting fairly compensated for their enormous contributions.
This is the way of the world, like re-signing of running backs, contracts doled out by the teams to elite running backs and even guys who've left. I think of Todd Gurley, I think of Le'Veon Bell. It doesn't generally work out for the franchise.
Felt criminal to these athletes, so they had to get together and discuss solutions. Then star LA Chargers running back Austin Eckler, coined as the president of the Running Back Association and the leader of this meeting, made clear his disdain for how running backs were being treated and the effect franchise tags have on this position.
Talk about, make possible solutions. What do we want to change? What do we not like?
Eckler was in a battle of his own with the Chargers after posting consecutive 1,500 scrimmage yards and 38 touchdowns. The Chargers had adapted the mindset that was plaguing the league. It was not looking to give Eckler a new deal. Despite how ugly it got, and even Eckler coming as far as demanding a trade, the running back market was not budging.
And while they have points for essentially making more than what they're incurring right now, it's just not where things stand.
He would have to play under his contract with 1 year remaining. Another leader in this fight was Nick Chubb. The bruising back had suffered some gruesome injuries on behalf of having to carry the Cleveland Browns, the same organization that still held 2 years of non-guaranteed money on Chubb's contract. At the same time, Saquon Barkley, Tony Pollard, and Josh Jacobs were franchise tagged. Some of the biggest names in the game were not even making over $6 to $10 million a season.
And running backs get screwed by the current rookie wage scale.
And because of this, it was keeping these talented players off the market to be unrestricted free agents in the prime years as running backs. And in return, these teams got nothing from it.
I think just pulling over this, the right thing to do is let you test the market and see what your value is.
And the players wasted another season of their careers. But it wasn't all in vain. They would find new homes in free agency the following offseason. But before that, things got very bleak. Jacobs had to crash out on the Vegas Raiders, missing training camp until he got his contract reworked by the team. Barkley moped around the Giants facility until agreeing to a 1-year deal, and for Pollard, he would sign his franchise tenure as is. Barkley and Jacobs were portrayed by the franchises they were keeping relevant, much like Chubb. Pollard and other backs like him, while not as accomplished, still were making a name for themselves in the league, but were getting caught up in the battle between belittling the running backs and paying them what they're worth. One that of course trickled up and down the food chain.
Essentially where everything is going for the position as a whole.
The league's highest paid running back at the time, Christian McCaffrey, now with the San Francisco 49ers, added to the star-studded profile this meeting had. Even though CMC was secure in his position with the 49ers, getting a new contract on a team that already just invested a lot to get him was going to affect McCaffrey's market going forward and running backs as a whole. And who can forget Derrick Henry, the king running back of the 2010s? He was one of the biggest supporters of the running back coalition. After playing out the final year of his deal and send him to free agency as well. All of these men's stories before and during this meeting made them understandably frustrated by the lack of respect being placed on the position. And while there may not have been much that came out of this meeting, one thing that did happen for sure, they put everyone on notice. The running backs were serious about changing the business of the position.
Like Jim Irsay has sort of become the face of the opposition there because we're trying to negotiate, after the fact. Do you have anything to say to?
I have nothing to say to Jim Irsay.
They were going to reestablish a time when running backs got the respect they deserved. Chapter 2, Forgotten Era. There once was a time that running backs owned the mantle as franchise players and had an era of being the best players in the entire league.
He's going to wrap it up. And there goes McCoy. It's in the backfield. He takes the handoff. It's into the clear. What moves? Powerful and explosive. Running round. He turns the corner. Down the sideline. Still running.
From 2000 to 2012, 4 running backs won league MVP. And in my view, this was the golden era of the running back. You have Faulk winning in 2000. Shaun Alexander won in 2005. LaDainian Tomlinson ran his way into the record books in 2006. And Adrian Peterson, 2012, was the last running back to win MVP. And even though these were the elite backs that got the glory,
Tomlinson off the left side. Tomlinson sidesteps. Hello, history books. And Marshall Faulk has set an NFL record. On goes right, has a cut back lane, and he does. He's across the 20, the 25, 30.
5 on third down, over the top. The pass is complete. Adrian Peterson, look at that shot. Goodness.
there are other guys worth remembering from this era too. However, even with all these great players, this was actually the second, maybe even the third golden era for the rough and tough running backs. The 90s, 80s, and 70s all had some of the best running backs of all time carrying the torch.
Brown, flying feet, did the rest. Another piece of art. And it's Marcus Allen. Change of direction.
Not only for their teams, but the NFL popularity too. We're talking about Barry Sanders, invading tacklers and inspiring many of the running backs of the past and present, even though he was stuck on them bad Lions teams.
45, breaks 40, Barry 35, spins free.
Emmitt Smith, the NFL's all-time leading rusher, used a blend of raw talent, vision, and refusing to go down on that first hit, helped Smith will the Dallas Cowboys into a dynasty.
Smith up the middle, breaks a tackle, comes right, punches it in, touchdown.
Terrell Davis had a string of success in the 90s himself, delivering 2 Super Bowls to the Broncos in 97 and 98, while also eclipsing 2,000 yards.
This is the reason the Broncos are the Broncos and the reason the Broncos won the Super Bowl.
Walter Payton, aka Sweetness, and Earl Campbell, the Tyler Rose, were the face of the NFL during their prime years. Both won league MVPs to prove it.
Again, and breaks into the Lions secondary. Another first down, still going.
And they know that if it wasn't like 6 of them, 4 or 5 maybe, I knew what was going to happen and they knew what was going to happen.
Let's take it further than that. Jim Brown earned a total of 3 MVPs and is still the only running back to have won the award more than once, in addition to winning it in back-to-back seasons. The league has evolved tremendously from those days, but what hasn't changed? Running backs have always been the driving force for teams and marketable to fans throughout the history of the sport. Chapter 3, New Era. Fast forward to today's running backs, the initiators of a return of dominance for elite backs. This new era could be credited to many of the great players today. You have Saquon Barkley, who of course broke the total season rushing record, won a Super Bowl, and had without question the most impactful season for any running back in modern football history. Then King Henry, reminding us who he really was. Henry broke the mold of what running backs in their 30s, who have historically had a dip around this age, could do, and typically fall off a cliff by this point. Henry, with all those touches through Tennessee and with the Ravens, much like when he was drafted, became an anomaly, totaling 1,942 rushing yards, leading the Ravens to the playoffs and maintaining that he's still an elite player. But the other guys that have made the running back position regain its respect, guys like Josh Jacobs. The Packers lead back stood on business all season and ran the Pack into the playoffs and was arguably their best offensive player. Living up to the big contract the Pack gave him, Jahmyr Gibbs proved that he was more than just a 1-2 punch combo player. Nah, Gibbs is a dynamic back with skills that will make him a franchise player for the Lions. Bijan Robinson earned his stripes in the 2024 season, posting a 1,400-yard rushing season with 14 touchdowns and earned a Pro Bowl nod. I know everybody gets selected to the Pro Bowl, but it is some recognition for a back who was taken with the top 10 pick. Bringing relevance back into the running game is in style now, calling card for teams that went into the playoffs. And for most of those teams, it wasn't even just having a quality guy, but some of them had elite backs. The dominance of running backs like Barkley and Henry and the many others that I have mentioned were reminiscent of the days where backs ruled the game. A new golden era of running backs is upon us, and it couldn't have come in a better time for the position.
In the AP, Offensive Player of the Year, Saquon Barkley.
I think it's really changed. If you look at all the top teams, right, like the Eagles, great team. The best player on the team is probably Saquon Barkley.
Yes, no doubt.
I look at the Ravens. We would say that him and Derrick Henry is kind of on the same plane.
And I think that's what's cool about it is the running back position is back.
The 2025 draft, which some say could be the deepest running back class we've seen to date. You have Heisman finalists and the best back from college football last season, Ashton Jeanty from Boise State.
Ashton Jeanty is a running back, is a hell of a player. And I think you know what you're getting with him. Name a team, Ashton Jeanty would make a lot of sense. He's going very high.
But he's not alone. You have UNC's Omar and Hampton. Jeanty and Hampton could continue to bring the star power the NFL wants coming into the league through the draft. And while the Heisman runner-up in Jeanty is projected to be a day one stud, once his name is called April 25th, Hampton has the production and game to make a strong case to also be a day one pick alongside Jeanty. Those two running backs and so many more from this draft can and will allow the elevation of the running back to continue.
So many different types of talent. There's elite players at the top.
Years from now, we're going to say, boy, that 2025 draft had a ton of running backs who are playing really well in the NFL.
This is a new era, and it is filled with players that provide a uniqueness to the position that can only be appreciated when you don't have a great running back on your roster. Welcome to the renaissance of great running backs.
The running back renaissance is on.